And I would also say size is an important consideration of the animal that some people, for some reason, they overlook. Like they see a big pig, like a 300-pound pig, that'll hang at around 220 pounds, or even just a 200-pound hanging weight. And they'll be like, yeah, let's roast that pig. And I think, like that makes me tired. That right there, I mean, if you're going to cook it all the way perfectly, that is at least cooking at fierce full speed, just a fraction below browning it right away the whole time, which is a very intense endeavor for at least 15 hours, a pig that size. And so frequently what happens is just the exterior of the pig is cooked.
Yeah.
And
that happens for both when you have a big pig and if you're trying the underground method.
Yes, yeah. People know how to do the underground method.
Yeah.
I say get in touch with those ones.
Yes, get in touch with an expert who grew up doing that in their Samoan grandfather's backyard.
Do it.
Like, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. So I like, for me, when I go to roast a pig, again, I like the lean ones. So I try to avoid the coonies and fat American guinea hogs because while they may be the right size by the scale, they're 2/3 fat. So again, you're melting that fat to even begin to cook the meat. And then if I do find the lean pig, right around 80 to 100 pounds, it's just perfect.
That's the other thing too, is pigs are deceptive in how much they yield. You can look at a little pig and you go, that's a little pig, but it can feed like 50 people.
Yeah.
Really easily.
They have a much higher meat to bone ratio than ruminants, than a lamb.
Yeah.
So err on the side, especially your first few times, on being too small. You're going to be fine. Like most of the time you're going to have leftovers. I promise you almost that is what's going to happen. So you're going to have leftovers. So a smaller pig, just err on the side of a little smaller.
Yeah.
I did a wedding once and I felt like the pig might be a little small because I think there were some last changes to the quantity of guests that were going to be there, actually, kind of last minute.
That's
and,
right.
When I'm roasting a pig for an event, we source that thing way before because there's lots of things that need to be right about it. Like, one, I can get there. It's not a million miles away, and it's one that I can slaughter. I'm not going to buy something from a restaurant supply store. And it's the right age, and it's raised well. So there's so we'll book it way in advance. But the last minute change to the guest list meant that I didn't think that the pig was going to be enough. And so I stuffed it with rabbits.
That's right.
And that was awesome. I was able to bulk it out a little bit. But that took even more conscientious effort to think about cooking this from the center outward. Even though you're applying heat to the outside, your goal is, I want to heat up this core. That's what you're trying to do the whole time. And then radiate outward from the core.
Yeah.
And the last thing that happens is, incidentally, is the browning. So smaller, leaner pigs are the way to go. Around 80 pounds hanging weight. And then the other thing I would say, I really like for ruminants, lamb or goat. With goat, you don't have to worry about leanness. That's a given. Goats are just lean animals. Sheep can be quite fat. And I like around 30 pounds hanging weight for those.
Okay.
And again, these are all rough because fuel, the direction of the wind, everything is a variable that affects this. But with a 30-pound lamb, if I'm cooking at like kind of full speed, just a few degrees below browning the outside the whole time, if you know what I mean. So just slow enough to be pull apart tender on the inside and not brown it, but fast enough to be as fast as possible. That's like 8 hours, maybe 6 at a 30-pound. And 30-pound carcass is perfect. That's just great on my cross. And that's just because I've kind of refined my method. I think before, I would give myself much more time than that. For a 30-pound carcass, I would give myself at least 12 hours.
Okay.
Just to put plenty of forgiveness at either end.
Yeah.
Because, again, the rest can be really long at the end of roasting. Really long before the meat even gets close to being unpleasantly cool.
Yeah. Or like sometimes a chaotic thing can happen in the beginning of the day. Like one time you showed up to the Divine Mercy roast and it was pouring rain on you.
Right.
And you almost walked away, but thank goodness we had a friend there who was really...
He's ready to go.
He was.
It's like rain? What
he
rain?
He was pumped, yeah. So he set up the tents and like maneuvered these steel grates to just cover the fire perfectly, but it set you behind like an hour or two.
Took a while to get that fire going.
So
yeah.